New York and on the new Hot 97 app. Ebro in the morning on Hot 97.
Ladies and gentlemen, a story, poem, or picture that can be interpreted to reveal a hidden meaning, typically a moral or political one. Laura, you know what that means? You know what definition that is?
What's the definition?
Allegory.
Boom.
The new album from Royce the 5'9".
Thank you.
Hi, Royce.
How you guys doing?
9 Nickel. How's it going there, Media Royce?
It's going pretty well. Why you call me that?
Because I've never seen you go. I could tell. We haven't talked, but I could tell. I was like, oh, Royce made a decision. He's doing everything possible for this album. He's going to go as hard as humanly possible and at least post about everything too, and really show the entire journey. Was I right? What was there some sort of specific decision about kind of promoting this one differently?
I decided I was going to stay on top of the online part. Keno decided I was going to go do all media.
So Keno decided, your manager decided you were going to go do everything. You decided I'm also going to document doing everything.
I decided I was going to have his back. But
by the way,
he got me up early in the morning every single morning. I'm not a morning guy.
This has been going for what, a week and a half?
3 weeks.
3 weeks already?
Yeah.
Have you noticed a difference as a result?
Of course. Yeah. It's a good thing. I'm not complaining by any stretch. I only complain to him. I don't complain to anybody.
Did you end up doing any random, we saw you did Good Day New York. I'm sure you did local and Detroit TV. You did all kinds of different stuff. Mm-hmm. Was there any sort of random media you did this time around you've never done in the past that you like doing?
No. I think everything I did, I think I've done before.
At some point.
Yeah.
You just put it all
did
together.
it all. Everything. We didn't skip anybody this time.
True that you produced this entire album?
Yes.
Every track?
Every single track.
And what was the most you'd produced on an album of yours prior to this one?
This is my first time producing. I'm just learning.
You had 0 credits previously?
No, 0.
Because when Ebro told me the other day, he had you up at Beats, and he said, Royce produced every single track on this album. Mm-hmm. And by the way, if you guys haven't heard Allegory yet, it is a beautiful piece of work.
Thank you.
Yet again.
But did you work with other producers also? To assist or? No, just you?
No, not really. I mean, I had Carlos Brody help me out a little bit on Black Savage. I think he did a bass line. Mr. Porter, who's my dear friend, he's always helping me with everything. But, I didn't want to use help, you know what I mean? I didn't want anybody to hold my hand, you know what I mean? If that's the case, I might as well just let them do it. Because I know so many masterful guys, so when it came to the levels, I sent DJ Premier the final mixes, I would do Prime. I had him make his notes how we would do with Prime. So he would send me back email yo, number 9, turn the kick up a little bit. Number 7, turn the snare down. You know what I mean? Turn the vocal up a little bit, 2 dBs on this one.
What did Primo think of your production?
He said he loved it. And he's never lied to me before.
I got to tell you, I was taken aback by it knowing that you did it. Bro, I feel like I would notice if a rapper turned producer all of a sudden on their, what number album is this?
8th, I think.
On their 8th album started, producing, I feel like I would notice and feel like it was very stiff or I don't know. But it's awesome.
Thank you, man.
I don't even know which one I like the most.
I think I've been producing for a while, just as far as arranging. It's kind of like my role in Slaughterhouse to kind of see the songs through. But beat making is just something that I just picked up. So now it's I'm actually making the beats. But, I would take people send me 2 tracks of beats and I would take them and rearrange them certain ways to be able to rap on them or fuse them together with other beats.
So you learned over time the little things, the tricks to doing.
Yeah, sometimes you could be producing and not even know you're producing. You would need somebody to tell you, hey, that's producing.
Right. See how you're cutting that and you're doing stuff? You're now producing.
Yeah.
Do you have will your engineers physically do stuff or are you physically hands-on with absolutely everything?
Well, I did everything. I cut all my own vocals and everything like that. Then I just had I had somebody come in. I flew my man Ari in from Tennessee to mix everything, and also my man Ivy out in Detroit to mix everything.
What studio do you work out of?
Heaven Studios, my studio, the one you have not visited.
No. Well, you haven't invited me, so I don't know how we move on from this. No. So I want to talk a little bit about the features, because there's a couple interesting moments. I really like the Graph record, and I was like pleased that existed. Why now? Why did you do that?
With Graph?
Yeah.
You know what? It started out as a Graph joint for his joint. Now originally it was a loop. It was an Ant-Man Wonder loop that Green Lantern produced.
An Ant-Man loop that Green produced.
That Green Lantern produced for Graph's album. So I rapped on it and was like, damn, I like this. It kind of fits where I'm going. So I asked him if I can have it for me. But I had to figure out a way to produce it. So I took it and I added live horns and live drums, because where Green had the drums sitting was inside of the sample. So you couldn't really tell the drums were there. So it was dope the way I was able to collaborate that like that. But I mean, that's how it came together. And so we just did something different for his project.
Okay, got it. You hit him with one of those though. You hit him with the, hey man, I'm really feeling this joint right here.
Well,
I'd like to hold this.
I hit Graph. I was like, can I have this? And he was like, what you mean? I was like, can I use this for mine? And then we just do something different for yours. Because I believe mine was a little closer to being done than his was. I think mine was closer to being done than his was. And it was for the Oracle.
Now, you also have Griselda all over the album. All three.
Mm-hmm.
Vince Staples record.
Vince is on the record as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you really, it's of course your bro Kid Vish is on the project.
Mm-hmm.
Primo. I guess I'm not going to ask the obvious. I'm not going to ask, well, why Griselda? But well, okay, let me ask you a different question about Griselda. Since you're a rap nerd, like, let's look into it for real. Like, we all talk about Griselda. People like you and I have loved Griselda for a long time. Many people are now figuring out, like, oh, this Griselda. What do you think their role is right now, and what do you think the ceiling is for Griselda?
Their role is to fill that void. It's to fill that void and provide that balance. They kind of have the same. They held to the same standard I believe Slaughterhouse was held to, and that's to kind of keep things in perspective, and keep lyricism on the forefront. I think they're doing a great job of that. As far as ceiling, it doesn't look like there is one for them, honestly. Like, I think they can just keep growing. I think they can keep growing, doing what they're doing, because they go in there with the same mind frame every time, except each new thing is indicative of where they are at the time. So it automatically just keeps getting better.
And I feel like it's so funny how much, like, things change over just a few years. They're in a different position even now for growth than even you guys were for Slaughterhouse 6 years ago, whenever that was.
Mm-hmm.
How long has it been since Slaughterhouse?
I'm terrible with dates.
7 years?
Probably.
It's been a minute.
10 years since it started? Yeah, it might be.
Since it started?
Yeah.
Nah, it's been longer than that, bro.
Longer than 10 years?
Oh yeah, 11 years.
11 years.
Yeah.
Where do things stand? Crook's on here.
Mm-hmm.
How are things with you and our friend Jump Off these days?
That's my brother. You know, everything is always gonna be good with me and him.
Yeah, you always are, like, very good. I feel like you handle your personal relationships very good and very well in general.
I hold on to my people, man. You know, like especially with sobriety, I need to look for a resolution. You know what I mean? Like, I hate existing in the gray area. I call it the gray area. You know, where it feel like it's just a problem looming.
Mm-hmm.
I hate the way that feels. It, like, raises my anxiety levels. You know what I mean? So if there's some type of issue, you know, like if I don't like something one of my friends said, I just talk to him about it.
Yeah, you always appear to be that way.
Yeah.
Where are you in your sobriety journey right now? How do you feel about your sobriety?
Going on 8 years, I feel great about it.
Wow, congrats.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
And are you, like, in program, or do you sort of just read things and kind of talk to people and move on your own?
Talking to people, expressing it through my music, and therapy works best for me.
Did you do 12-step at some point?
I did a little bit of AA. I did a little bit of AA. I encourage AA for people, but with me, it kind of makes me sad going to AA.
Why?
I don't know. I never walk out of there feeling good. I always feel sad hearing other people's stories.
But why do you encourage it for other people then?
Well, because that's basically part of the Bible of sobriety. There's a lot of people that feel like if you don't go to AA and take the steps, that you're not really sober. So I'm not going to encourage people not to do it. You know what I mean? There's reasons for me because I'm somewhat of a celebrity. Like the last AA meeting I went to, somebody asked me to take a picture.
Well, that is ruining the second A of AA. You're messing up the second A, which is half the A's.
Yes. And it's a very important A.
It's a hugely important A because when you're in a room, you're trying to talk about things that are dear to you.
Because you got some people in there that are just there ordered by the court. They're not even taking stuff serious yet. You got some people in there that are lit up. They smell like alcohol. Obviously high, you know what I mean? And then you got other people that telling really, really sad stories, and I just walk out of there not feeling so good, you know what I mean? And I walk out of therapy feeling like I can deal with anybody, I could talk to anybody, I can be understanding.
And by the way, that's such an interesting experience, though, because for some people, I think their experience is different. They have a tough time finding that therapist that does it for them, but their meetings really do them good.
Do you feel like you have young fans reaching out to you, being that you're so open about therapy and about sobriety?
Mm-hmm. Especially young artists.
Yeah.
I love mentoring. I love just sharing knowledge. I feel like I got a lot of it. A lot of knowledge about sobriety, and especially a lot of knowledge about the music industry.
Yeah.
I pretty much made every mistake you can think of. That makes you wise.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. That's the living part of it.
Yeah.
You and Marshall talk sobriety or no?
Yeah, we haven't in a minute. When I first got sober, that's all we talked about. And then after a while, it was almost like we both forgot that we were even sober. It's like
how many years is he at? He's over?
I think it's over 10.
He's over 10, right?
Yeah.
So he must have been really excited when you saw that it was time.
When I saw the light.
You saw the light.
When I got punched in the face by reality.
Yeah, when reality punched you in the face. Now, when you got locked up, you weren't sober afterwards. You weren't sober right away, were you? Or was it right away?
No. I went back to drinking after that.
After that?
Yeah, I did 5 years? At least more than 5 years after that.
That's so crazy. It must be crazy to think about. You would have thought that was the punch in the face because you were locked up specifically for drinking.
Bro, my first driving under the influence charge was a car accident. I blacked out behind the wheel and ran into a pole. Ugh. I came to, and there was a police officer standing over me with a flashlight in my window, like, "Hey, you all right in there?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm good." He's like, "Why don't you step out of the car for me?" I get out the car and he tells me to say my ABCs, and I sang my ABCs. And ended it with "Tell me what you think of me."
Oh my gosh.
And
were you physically hurt by that accident? Did you break anything?
The windshield of my car was pushed out, because my head hit it, and there were pieces of thread from my hat in the cracks in the windshield. So that let me know that my head hit the windshield, but I felt fine. So after I finished singing my ABCs, he said, why don't you turn around and put your hands behind your back?
I'm going to show you something real quick. Oh, you're going to be singing all right. And then, of course, you did it again. When you went to jail, it's because you got another DUI, right?
I got 3 total.
3 total.
So what happened was I got that first one, the car accident, and then some years later I got another one. And while I was waiting to go to court to rectify that one, I got another one. I was doing well.
You were doing great. You had it under control.
I was killing it.
You were killing the game. And you talked about that too on, I've told you many times that I love the record Shake This. It's like, it's one of my gym songs. It's like one of my, I know I should be in better shape if I want to sell the song better, but Shake This is an amazing song. And you talk about going to jail and your attitude walking into court was like, I'm wearing my nice suit, my sunglasses, some celebrity, I'm about to be all right. And they said 1 year. Did you really, was your lawyer telling you, and did you really, just because you were also still in denial as an addict, feel like, I'm going to be fine? I'm not going to jail.
Yes. My lawyer was like, no, don't worry about it. I know the judge. Probation. We'll work something out. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So I walk in there. I didn't even say bye. to the family. Just like, I'll be back.
Oh, your wife wasn't in court?
No.
You didn't think it was that big a deal?
No. And then I went in there, and the judge was like, oh, and I had also, while I was waiting to go to court for those two that I told you I had just got back to back, they got this program called Jams where they call you randomly. They call you randomly, and if the color that you've been assigned is called, that means that very next morning you have to go blow into a device to make sure you haven't been drinking.
Okay.
Well, I failed one of those too while I was waiting.
Oh, so that doesn't help. That doesn't help. The judge doesn't.
Yeah,
that
didn't help. That didn't help at all.
So what was the judge's message?
She said, so let me get this straight. So she said, you got this one. Now, Swifty McVeigh from D12 had just got out of jail for drinking and driving. And this was right around the passing of proof, God rest his soul. And she was like, okay, so let me get this straight. One of you just died. The other one I just let out of jail. And now I got you. She said, okay, yeah, I got to shut you down. Boom, 1 year. Step up to the bailiff. And then my lawyer was like, well, can we talk about at least work release? She was like, no, not at this time.
How do you feel about the judge looking back on it?
She has a history of doing some weird things, but I think what she did with me served me well. It served me well.
And what do you think would have happened if you don't get it?
I'm not going to go out of my way and say she's like some great person.
Right.
Because of the way she's treated other people.
Oh, because there's more of a history. You have a history.
But
in this specific
with
case.
me, I got what I had coming.
And
Sure.
and how do you think your life would have played out if instead that day you walked out with probation?
Eulogy.
And it would have happened, you think, from something drinking and driving, something related to that?
It was headed that direction. And you know, it's when I had the spiritual awakening and decided to stop drinking, I just felt like everything happened to me already that can possibly happen. What new can happen? If you add anything new, you know what I mean?
At what moment in your life did that happen? After jail.
Yeah, around 8 years ago, I believe I was in New York. I was in New York in a hotel room, and I just woke up. I think I had to do 106 in Park that day or something.
Wow.
I woke up, and I just had this overwhelming feeling that I needed to stop. And I was feeling like if I don't go with this feeling, this is exactly what my mind was telling me. If I don't go with this feeling, something is going to happen. Something bad is going to happen. So I was following up from a conversation me and Marshall had prior, maybe a couple weeks prior, where I was sitting in his office. And just out of nowhere, he was like, yo, you know, if you ever feel like you got a problem, you can call me, right? And he just left it like that. He's a good seed planter. You know what I'm saying? So that within itself just kind of like stuck with me because it was like I was asking myself a lot of questions like, what did he mean by that? I'm wondering, is he saying that he thinks I have a problem? Like, what is he saying? That's why I feel like it's good to plant seeds instead of just kind of like preach. You know what I'm saying? So I called him. I called my dad. I called Keno. I called my brother. You know what I'm saying? I called everybody. And everybody who I called, when I told them that I was stopping, I was emotional. So that's how I knew. You know what I mean? Like, I knew. So.
And it stuck. That was the day that it stuck.
Yeah, as soon as I went home, I went to see a doctor. I actually went to see Marshall's doctor because that was when Lighters was out. Lighters was out. I had a whole bunch of money, a pile of money just sitting.
It just rolled on in.
A pile of money just sitting. No health insurance. A pile of money just sitting. I went and seen Marshall's doctor. I stayed in there for like 2 days, and then I went, got a therapist, and that's it. Haven't even thought about a drink since.
Wow.
Yeah.
I hope that people watching this, because I'm sure people are very affected by your story, and I hope that people also digest how not only like, yes, there should be a level of relating and understanding and seeing that you can make mistakes. I hope you also know how lucky this man was. I mean, the amount of breaks that were caught that you're still with us as opposed to on the first or second time you did, because you just told us a couple of the dumb things that happened. There's obviously countless more. I mean, you find any addict for many years, there are countless stories.
We're not going to even get into the violence.
Oh, yeah.
You know
I've never even talked to you about that part.
Yeah, I feel I feel like it's meant for me to be here. And a lot of people wonder why I'm so forthcoming with information and why I'm always helping people and why I'm always like trying to embrace, you know, the younger artists and I just feel like I got to do my part. You know what I mean? I feel like it's a much bigger reason for me to be here than to be chasing numbers, you know what I mean? Like chasing record sales. Like I feel like I'm here to make a change in some shape, form, or fashion. So that's why I'm always just on it. I just started doing speaking engagements. You know,
really?
I actively do sobriety events. Yeah, man.
That's dope.
Yeah.
I love where your career is going, man. It's really like I don't know. Everything is new in terms of this stage in your career. Like we don't have a lot of history of where rappers go in their late 30s, early 40s. I mean, yeah, we can look at Marshall and Hove and like, you know, these ones who are in a different stratosphere. But as far as like the really great artists who have done well, where do you go? Because like a lot of people, it's a young man's game. And people fade. Your career just kind of seems to be getting better, in my opinion.
Thank you.
Like this is like the last few albums I think have been your best bodies of work, which is pretty cool to see.
I also think more than ever, it's so important what you're doing, though, because it is exhausting reporting about young artists, you know, dying or creating, basically just throwing their lives away. You know, the fact that, you know, you can be that person because obviously, like, we can sit here and say you should do this or you should do that, but you went through it. And as having that spotlight as an artist is completely different. I don't think people truly understand what it is. Not only you have money, you have fame, but also the access too.
How much of a gut punch was Mac's passing? Mac Miller.
Oh man, that was a huge gut punch because I had just spoken to him. He asked me to do a verse for him, and I did it. But I was extremely hoarse. So I sent it to him just to know that I got it done. But obviously I had to recut it. Before I can even recut it for him, he passed. And when I spoke to him about doing the verse, we spoke about sobriety a little bit. And he seemed to be doing fine. You know what I mean? But a lot of time went by before I heard from him again. And I hit him a couple times and he didn't answer. You know what I'm saying? So
I could never read his sobriety. I could, whenever I saw him, I would always be like, "How you doing?" And he always knew what "how you doing" meant. He knew I was very specifically talking about his health, and the answers would vary. But the thing that I found so complicated about Mac, and it's so complicated about addiction, is that he never felt like when I was around him, there was the darkness that we know existed and that you can hear in his music, and that. I would never felt it in his presence.
he was always trying though.
I know.
Always trying.
Always. The effort was always
trying.
there.
Yep.
And then when I think it happened, the thing that's so upsetting about it is, and this is what goes back to the luck part, he was just ready to get on the road and was kind of bored, you know, and that's what it seems like, and just was partying and just, the time came, you know? And then to the point of like, yeah, you had so many experiences that could have been more likely where you could have died and you didn't, and you're here.
Yeah.
And how old are you now?
42.
42, with 5 kids, and putting
I
out.
wish I had more.
I know. Listen, give her a break.
Okay. I agree.
This is too much. What about? Would she be down to adopt one?
I never spoken to her about that.
We have another plan here. Maybe you have another route.
I wouldn't think about adoption until later, man. Like, because right now I still can make them. So we got to talk about that.
But your house isn't full enough. You want more. You want more in the house.
Man, listen, I have 5 more at least if I could. If she would let me.
You guys have pets too?
I got 5. I'd do 5 more, huh?
You have pets?
Why would I need a pet?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you like having a full house, you currently have 4 kids in the house, correct?
Yeah.
So I mean, if I'm your wife and I'm trying to get you to bide some time, maybe if I'm her, I just go out and get a German Shepherd or something.
I may need one.
You know?
May need one.
But honestly, I started as a joke, but on a serious note, because of how much you do seem to like the companionship of your little people, having a dog that's by you every second is kind of nice.
I can imagine.
You know,
that.
the little
I'm
homie.
sure your kids will be very happy.
Yeah,
You've hung out with me and Bear before. You understand. Like,
I understand.
It's a real thing.
But man, it's nothing like kids, man. I love children. They're the best. They are the key to happiness.
When is a Hove song gonna happen? I feel like it's time.
Text me his number, man.
All right. You know what?
Text me his number. I'm gonna have to get at Hov, man.
I think it's jz@tmail.com. Just send him a note.
Everybody says that too. Everybody's like, "What's up with you and Hov, man? What's up with the song?" I'm like, "Bro, reach out to him then. You tell him. You tell him that we need to make
But
that
it
happen."
really should happen. Like, because you're so open. To me, it's rare that someone in your air as an artist is so open with their admiration of an artist.
Yeah.
So I guess for me, I want to see it happen because, like, if you were whatever, I wouldn't ask the question. But since you are beyond worthy of a song with Hov, and the level you're at is worthy of a song with Hov, and you're as nice as you are, and he's still active.
Is it just because we haven't did a song together? Because I'm open with my admiration about many artists.
Yeah, but I don't know. For me, I associate you with, like, I know how inspirational you think he is.
You know
as
I'm
an
a
MC.
Jay-Z stan.
Yeah,
I'm the
you're
same way with Nas. I haven't worked with him.
By the way, so you know what you need to do?
Oh, God, here we
What
go.
you need is like that forever kind of joint. What you need
With
is
both of them on there at the same time?
and M. You get you featuring M, Nas, Hov.
Oh, okay. So we should put Jesus Christ on there too.
Well, listen, we can get one of them for sure.
While it's wishful thinking.
You can get one. You got to work. So I already have me and M's verses done. All right, now Nas, and I think you go to Hov last.
Okay.
How
You
much?
might as well throw 3 stacks in it.
No, see, now you're going too far. Now you went too far.
I mean, you started it.
No, because 3 stacks is like, now we got to go find 3 stacks. You know, that's a whole different thing. What did you think of obviously, I loved your appearances on it, but I thought that M's last album was the best, most complete M album in a minute. What were your thoughts on it?
I say since Recovery. Yep, since Recovery. As far as the way I rank his albums, I would put it, up there.
What was different? Why do you think it felt like he was in his pocket? It just felt like, I don't know, there's something different about it.
It's just a work in progress. It's a work in progress. He's paying attention to what's happening. He's reading the comments. He's judging the way that everybody's responding to everything he's doing, and he's the kind of person that he's just gonna keep hitting and making his adjustments as he goes. You know what I mean? Like, he's champion. That's what champions do. These are the later rounds, and he's making his adjustments.
Last thing I want to ask you before I get you up out of here, I know we've talked about a lot of deep stuff, so one last deep thing. You mentioned Proof earlier, and these days we've been so inundated with death in the culture, with Pop Smoke most recently. And so, I mean, the last 3 years has been the worst run in terms of the amount of prominent artists lost. I don't recall anything like this. It's like an epidemic in hip hop. But Proof, I mean, that was a major loss for Detroit. I mean, between Proof and Dilla, I mean, you guys had 2 just huge losses culturally. Both artists and friends of yours, people you were associated with. But for Proof specifically, how much of an impact did that have musically and emotionally on all of you guys?
It's catastrophic. I don't think the guys. When I say the guys, I mean Porter, Vaughn, Swifty, Bizarre, all of the D12 guys, Marshall. I don't think they all the way bounce back from that. I don't think they'll ever bounce back from that. You know what I mean? Because he was just such a integral part of just every way that the machine moved. He kind of was the machine in a way. You know what I mean? He was kind of like the leader in a way. I say that, with respect. He's kind of like the leader in a way. He was like the glue between all of them. You know what I mean? So, I mean, yeah, I don't think that they all the way bounce back from it. I don't think they all the way will, because he was a close friend to everybody. You know what I mean?
And so he sort of occupied that spiritual leader of the...
He's like Tupac. Proof was like Tupac. He knew people in every neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? He was cool with everybody in every neighborhood. He knew all the gangsters. He knew everybody. You know what I mean? He was just...
I mean, how different, honestly, how different is hip-hop history minus Proof?
It's very different.
Like, you could argue that none of these things that happened for you and Marshall ever happened without Proof.
You could argue that, yes.
I mean, talent is talent, but if doors don't get open and people don't get the proper daps, a lot of things don't happen.
Yeah, and there's a lot of doors that got open in Detroit that a lot of guys overlook. A lot of guys that are out today that say shit like, I was the first guy in Detroit to do this and do that. Okay, well, if you think so. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of doors open that people walk through that they don't even realize got open for them. You know what I mean? So.
What a fascinating hip hop city Detroit is.
It is.
It truly is one of the most interesting. I mean, even if you stop the story at Dilla and M, the fact that they are both from Detroit would be amazingly interesting.
Yes.
But then when you add all the other pieces around it,
And you're talking about great artists. Great artists.
Great, different, interesting. The care. Detroit's like fucking mini Japan in terms of like the care for the culture that exists among the people who love it, and how varied and wide it is from Trick to Royce the 5'9".
Yeah, we got it. And we got to embrace
everything.
that. We got to embrace that, man. Like you got me, you got Sean, you got what Danny Brown does. What Danny Brown does is like he's doing something that I've never seen done before in Detroit. You know, even though me and him, we don't even really mess with each other like that, but I really think that he needs his flowers now because he's
special.
He's bringing new customers to the party.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's another lane that's friggin' interesting. You know what I'm saying? Like the entire world, when you sprinkle all the weirdos from your neck of the woods, and I say weirdos in a good way, from Insane Clown Posse, you know, even now, though I do not feel the way about him that I once did, Kid Rock, like it's weirdo land. And with the exception of a few crappy things that have happened, a lot of it's very cool and different. We had ICP up here one day, and I was like, yo, give me your like Detroit. They spent 30 minutes on old school, I'm older school than I've ever heard about. It was fascinating. You got to go. You have more media to do. You thought it was over? You thought this was the last one? No, he has to leave. There's more. Allegory's out. It's amazing. Go listen to it.
Thank you.
We love you, Royce.
Love you too, man. Thank you.